Timothy Bradley versus Diego Chaves. Chaves has been pretty active. He fought Keith Thurman and Brandon Rios fairly recently, even though he lost both those fights, but he was active and he was competitive in both those fights. Tim Bradley hasn't fought since he lost to Manny Pacquiao in a rematch. I think it's an interesting fight. I do think it's interesting. I think Diego Chaves is probably a bit underrated by some people. He has some skills. He has some power. Bradley being out of the ring for such a long time. And there's been pictures circulating of Tim Bradley looking fat. And this is nothing new. Tim Bradley is known to blow up between fights. And it's pretty damn remarkable the way he manages to drop all that weight and come into the ring looking like Mr. Universe. It is really pretty damn remarkable. It reminds me of Ricky Hatton when he used to fight, because you'd see him a few months out of a fight and he's literally fat with 2 chins and a beer belly. And then on fight night, the guy was just shredded. It's like, how the hell do these guys do this? Go from being, borderline obese to being shredded like Mr. Universe in just a couple months. I don't know how the hell these guys do it. Tim Bradley apparently has some vegan diet, but even with a vegan diet, man, the training these guys must do is insane to be able to drop that amount of weight in such a short period of time. But this fight here is interesting, like I say, because Chaves has been active and Bradley hasn't. And also, I question Bradley's desire in the game. Bradley's a family man. He's not really a guy who, like a lot of other fighters, is ego driven, at least not at this point in his career. He obviously has an ego and it obviously plays some part in his desire to fight, but he really strikes me as more of a family man, more of a guy that's very comfortable with his wife and being with his family and all that kind of stuff. He's not like Pacquiao, a guy who is an icon in his country. That's not really Tim Bradley. He's a low-key guy. He seems to live a low-key life. He's not out in the clubs like Mayweather. He's a very simple, like humble kind of existence that he has. And a guy like that, maybe he's a bit too comfortable now for this boxing thing. Maybe he's lost now to Pacquiao officially, even though most people felt he lost the first fight. So will his hunger really be there now? He's made millions, literally millions. He made a lot from the Marquez fight, made a lot from both Pacquiao fights, especially the rematch. Will his hunger really be there? Is there an opportunity for Diego Chaves to actually beat Tim Bradley? These things can happen. These things really can happen. And the thing about Bradley is that he's had such a tough career, this guy. I mean, in terms of resumes, there's very few guys out there. Probably you could argue there's no one out there who's had as tough a resume as Tim Bradley over the past few years. I mean, he went over to the UK and fought Junior Witter when Witter was champion and he won that fight. Right? Then he fought and beat Abregu when Abregu was undefeated, and Abregu is now a contender at 147. He beat Abregu when Abregu was a contender at 140 and undefeated. He beat Lamont Peterson when Peterson was undefeated. He beat Devon Alexander when Alexander was undefeated. Right? This guy, and then obviously he fought Marquez and beat Marquez. He fought Pacquiao twice. I'm sure there's a couple guys I'm missing there. Obviously, he fought Provodnikov. This guy has had a hard career, a very hard career. Very, very few times has this guy been in there with a soft touch. Every guy's been, the one guy who people were saying was an easy fight for Bradley was Provodnikov. But now we know Provodnikov has got stones for fists, right? We know that Provodnikov ain't an easy fight for anyone, or pretty much anyone. So Bradley really hasn't had an easy fight at all. He's been in tough fights his whole damn career. Now he's made it into the big time. He's started making all this big money. He's really a family man at heart. Will he really have the hunger? His family is secure now from the money that he's made. He doesn't need to fight no more. He can spend as much time getting fat with his wife and kids as he likes. Does he have the hunger to come back and take on guys like Diego Chaves, who is hungry and who hasn't made it? I think it's going to be interesting. This is not a prediction video. These are just my pre-fight musings after the fight has been announced, what I'm thinking and my feelings. But drop your comments below and let me know how you feel. Do you think that this is a dangerous fight for Bradley? Do you think he'll win it easily? Do you think any of the factors which I've talked about will not affect Tim Bradley in the slightest? Do you think that he has a lot more hunger and desire and ambition than I seem to think that he does? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. This is Hatman, I'm out.